Well, hello everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Psycho's Platters, episode 135, part 3 and the final part of the hair metal album Find. Always powered by coffee, of course. Before I get into that, I just want to let you know so far, thank you, everybody in the VC, in regards to all the views and a few more additional subscribers. We are inching our way to the 250 sub level, which of course I have said before in the last couple videos that when we hit the 250 sub level, there will be a contest thread. I will not announce what that is until we hit that magic mark, and of course I'll make a special video in regards to that. Since I said that, let's get started. Remember, in the last two episodes, and this third one too, this is still all what was in the hair metal LP find from the Salvation Army here in town that I picked up a few weeks back. Starting out with this one, a very underrated, in my opinion, guitar player, Pat Travers. That's right. You know, you remember Pat Travers. Pat Travers, I did a little research, of course, for everything. Pat Travers, he's Canadian, of course. He saw, how should I say this? He started playing guitar in his early days, but when he saw Jimi Hendrix perform when he was 12 years old, he saw Jimi Hendrix perform, and that fired him up, so to speak. In the early 1970s, up there, he was noticed by Ronnie Hawkins. If that name sounds familiar to you, great. If it doesn't, Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks. Ronnie Hawkins did from Fayetteville, Arkansas, just about 20 minutes away from me. He got his start down here and then went up to Canada up there, and of course found the band and started that way with that. And so he stayed up there. He's still currently going. But Ronnie Hawkins in the early 70s happened to notice Pat Travers, and he's like, hey, he invited him to play with them for a little bit before he went on his solo career in 1976. His golden years pretty much were 1977 to 80. Boom Boom Out Go the Lights, Snorting Whiskey, Drinking Cocaine were a couple of the big hits, of course. In 1981, Polydor, which was his record company, dropped him, but Pat went and turned around and sued Polydor to release more material. This happens to be the album that came out right after that lawsuit. With this particular lineup here, here's the front, here's the back. He still had Peter Mars Cowling, which was his bass player from 1976 on to literally this album. This was the last album he worked on. The original drummer for Pat Travers' band was Tommy Aldridge, but he was gone by then. And of course, Tommy Aldridge originally was in Black Oak, Arkansas. He ends up leaving Pat Travers to go basically to Blizzard of Oz, Ozzy's band, and then Whitesnake and Lord knows where else. But for this particular album here, he ends up getting Sandy Gennaro. Sandy Gennaro, of course, he used to be a drummer with the band Blackjack, which had Michael Bolton, a.k.a. Michael Bolton, and Bruce Kulick, and Jimmy Halslip, who'd end up in the Yellow Jackets. So he started out and played a couple albums with Blackjack, and after he'd end up being with Travers, he'd end up going to drum for Cyndi Lauper, Joan Jett, and the Monkees. Yeah, the Monkees. He ended up being the tour drummer from 1987, if I remember correctly, all the way to Davy Jones's death in 2012. He ended up drumming for them. I didn't know that, so it's kind of cool that there's a monkey connection here, sort of. Now, I wanted to show you something else, though, really quick that I thought was very, very cool. Remember I told you in the last couple chapters that I found some imports. This, once again, though, is a Polydor West German import from '82. Real sweet. Total mint and clean. I love it. Next one here. A lot of these here also, these finds, were RCA Record Club pressings. This is one of them, the Rush album Show of Hands, which came out in January 1989 on Mercury. Let me show you one of the labels. Yeah, it is special labels for this. A little crunchy. Why is it crunchy? Hang on a second, guys. Oh. I hate polyline sleeves. Those drive me nuts. I've never liked polyline sleeves. But, anywho, so the thing is that this particular album was recorded on several dates on the 1986 Power Windows tour and several of the concert dates from the 1988 Hold Your Fire tour, which I've got that album too on here. I didn't really... there we go. Sheesh, that's ridiculous. I didn't even know that this existed on vinyl. Like I said before, with the White Lion Big Game from the second episode that I did here for this, that I just, you know, that one was a record club pressing too. Let me show you this. This is a gatefold. The back condition of this is a little bit dirty. It just needs to get cleaned up a little bit. But so Rush's Show of Hands, very cool to have that album. All right, next one up, another one that I didn't honestly know was on vinyl. I love this band. I've always liked this band, and I had the pleasure to meet one of the members of this band about a good 15 years later after this came out. Great White's Twice Shy. This is also, like I said, an RCA Record Club release. This is the front. This is the back. This one was produced by Alan Niven and Michael Lardy. Michael Lardy is the keyboard player for Great White. He's also the member that I met in 2004. 2004? Yeah, 2004. He was keyboard player at the time for Night Ranger, Alan Fitzgerald, even though Alan Fitzgerald was shown on the Night Ranger posters for the gig that I worked. He retired, I guess, shortly before those gigs took place, and Michael Lardy came in and did that. I want to show you this real quick. Like I said, this came out in April of '89. This is a purple Capitol label. What I thought was also kind of cool, though, it actually says on here, oh man, printed and made in Canada. This was for the Record Club label. So I thought that was real odd, to say the least. Your two big hits on here, of course, Once Bitten, Once Bitten, Twice Shy, the Ian Hunter cover, the cover of the Ian Hunter song. It was top 5 hit, and then Angel's Song was in the top 30. And this was kind of their biggie. This was the apex of their career, because the next album that would come out in early '91, Hooked, which I think is on vinyl. I could have sworn I thought I've seen it on vinyl in the past. Actually did worse on the charts, and by the time their '92 album Psycho City came out, they couldn't even touch the top 100 of Billboard. But I wanted to mention, though, real quick about the Michael Lardy story. He was very nice, very approachable. I got him to sign. I didn't have any Great White albums at the time, but I had a couple CDs, so I got him to autograph those for me. I really don't want to. Let's just say we talked about the station nightclub incident. He wasn't there for that, okay? He, of course, was very saddened about that tragedy. But he told me, and I'm not going to get into it because some of this I think is slight private information, but let's just say that that when I saw him in '04, there was talk of them reuniting. That's at that time, which I'm like, oh wow, that'd be totally cool. And of course, shortly after that, I want to say they did. The whole entire band reunited for a little while anyway, because, well, Jack Russell's not with them anymore. He's been gone with them for a couple of years. The singer that's in Great White now is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Terry Illis. He used to sing in an 80s band, XYZ, which was on Enigma Records back then. Alright, so this one here, next one, totally cool. This is the first time I've actually ever seen Twisted Sister's Can't Stop Rock and Roll from 1983. Here's the front, here's the back. Like I said, this is from 83 on Atlantic, basic Atlantic label. The big hits on here, at least even though, how should I say this, it didn't go above 130 on the Billboard Top 200 back then, but Can't Stop Rock and Roll, of course, is really cool. I still hear that on the radio from time to time. We're Gonna Make It, I Am, I'm Me. A few other hits, it cuts off of here. Twisted Sister's wrapping it up this year. Dee Snider announced it. They may have already done so, maybe not. But I know that, what is it? The drummer passed away, of course, last year. And there was I'm sorry, guys. My brain is, I guess, not all here today. But they have a killer drummer that's supposed to be with them for those last gigs. Used to be in Dream Theater. You know what I'm talking about. He's like all over the place. He was in Dream Theater. He did Dream Theater stuff. He did Portnoy. Mike Portnoy. Yeah, Mike Portnoy. So he's drumming for Twisted, at least for a few gigs, if I remember right. But I've got Under the Blade on Secret Records, and then of course I've got Stay Hungry. So it's kind of nice to have this one too. And then the last one I picked up, never seen this before. Some of you people are probably going to go, we've seen this before. From 1976, Star Gold Black Sabbath double album collection. This is a West German press on the NEMS label. That's what it looks like. Okay, black NEMS label. This is a gatefold. Kind of cool, I think. Some of the track listings, of course, on here: Black Sabbath, Evil Woman, Warning, NIB, Changes, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, With Goodness Sunrise, Tomorrow's Dreams, Sweet Leaf, Children of the Grave, Lord of the World, Solitude, War Pigs, Paranoid, Planet Caravan, and then finishes off with Iron Man. But like I said, from 1976, really nice to find this. I've never seen that Sabbath record, period, on there. A couple new subscribers I want to bring up really quick. Dark Dub H, Ben Capocci, Capocci. I hope I'm not butchering that. And Clifton Ward. I'm at 243 subs right now, guys. So like I said, we're 7 away from having the contest. It'd be nice if I could get that within the next 7 to 10 days, even before June hit. That would be real beautiful. So please tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your frenemies about Psycho's Platters. Like and subscribe, please. Shoutouts: Wax Museum with Ronnie Dark and Night Owl Lounge with Mike Adams. Sunday nights, 6 to 9 p.m. Central Standard and 9 to 10 Central Standard for Mike's show. Two of the best damn Sunday night show out there. Also, Sunday nights, 8 to 11 p.m. This is Rock and Roll Radio on westcottradio.org. Go listen to Carl and Dana. I'll tell you, I get to hear snippets of those shows. Those are kick-ass shows too, guys. And they're friends with each other on all of those shows, which is kind of cool. Monday night, Mike Bolia Remembers Alan Freed. That's 7 to 10 p.m. Central Standard, if I remember correctly. Also, go like him on Facebook. The 107.5 The Spy, 8 to 9 p.m. Central Standard. You've got Freak Beat with Ken Worth, the best of psychedelic, but mostly 60s, early 70s, but sometimes he comes up with some current stuff. That's on, like I said, 107.5 The Spy out of Tulsa. And also Friday nights, 7 to 8. I don't get to hear it anymore, but Juke Joint Ginny. If you like the early R&B and rockabilly, oh, you're gonna, and even more current stuff like Reverend Horton Heat and a bunch of other ones. Listen to that show. That is also a kick-ass show. Thrifty Music Collectors Group, Tim Smith and Company. Always there. The Vinyl Grotto. Yeah, Doug Fields, new show, The Vinyl Grotto. Go like and subscribe that, please. He just started this week, so I'm really happy I saw the first episode. It's short, sweet, concise, and educational. I love it. It's fantastic in my eyes, anyway. Let's see. Shindig, the best English rock magazine, period. And lastly, the YouTube vinyl community. Without the YouTube vinyl community, none of us would be here, and none of us would be able to show the love and share the things we know in the VC. I love you guys. Take care. God bless. Rock on. See you next week.